Hello, welcome to Demon Interviews, episode 161. I'm your host, shockingly as always, Springy, and joining us today is a very special guest.
Dark Men of the Gone. Hello.
Woo! Well, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How about you?
Tired and ready for the day to end, other than this amazing interview.
Fair enough.
Um, have you ever been interviewed like this before?
No, I have not.
Well, we're happy to introduce you to the world of interviewing.
Agreed.
Uh,
I'm like so excited, but also nervous.
hey, this is gonna be super casual, don't worry about. Uh, would you rather eat Cheetos or go on a hike?
I'd rather go on a hike because I like being very athletic. But if I can bring those Cheetos with me, we got a good deal.
That's the secret third answer. So, works for me. Um, so people can assume from our past guests, and if they're coming from your fans, they do know that you're a cosplayer.
Hmm.
Uh, do you have any other new cosplays planned to do that you're able to tell us about without me giving you a small fee of $5 on Patreon or any other subscription service like that?
Of course. Um, so many, so many. So I recently did a poll for what my next big cosplay was gonna be when I reached 80,000, and the winner ended up being Solomon Grundy. So I fem Solomon Grundy. They made that specific because they know that I crossplay a lot and that I gender bend a lot. So they were like, "We want fem Solomon Grundy," and I was like, "Okay." And so I that's my next big one is I'm gonna get like this whole suit and I'm gonna rip it apart and I'm gonna do a femme version of Solomon Grundy. And and then I've already done him, but I haven't done any videos of him. Is I have Zeus from Lore Olympus that I bought for one of my friends because she wanted to do Hera and she's basically my cosplay wife. Check out CJ Cosplay. It's my cosplay wife. And she wanted to do Hera, and we already did Persephone and Hades once, so she wanted to do Hera and Zeus this time, and I was like, fine, I will be the horrible purple dude, whatever. But it was totally fun. It was because we also had a friend that did Thetis, so we had all three of us. It was great. It was so good. Uh,
Awesome.
I have so many others. There's so many. Um, I recently really got into Fnaf because I got into Five Nights at Freddy's very recently. I'm very behind, and I fell in love, and I really want to do Mangle because I love Mangle.
Yes.
I love Mangle so much. So I want to do Mangle, and I want to do Foxy. Those are my two big ones from FNAF that I want to do.
Awesome. Well, I know I if my lights were on behind me because I don't want anyone to come after me, um, you would see a wall of Five Nights at Freddy's posters behind me and like masks I've made for the marionette. So like I'm in that
You're
wheelhouse
cutting
as
up
well.
really bad. Oh no.
Let's hope it stops doing that.
I know. Yeah. I do know that you do a lot of FNAF. Like when you messaged me and I saw Springtrap, I was like, Springtrap, like that Springtrap?
Yep.
That
Yep.
Springtrap? And yeah, so I
Yep.
was like, I love that. That's so good.
Yes. And even my nickname Springy is based off of Five Nights at Freddy's and everything. So
I thought so.
yeah,
Love it.
real hard mystery there. Um, but yeah, I have a whole wall of marionette masks from FNAF
Oh,
2, 3, 4, so on, so forth.
I love the Marionette. She's so good. She's so fun.
Yeah,
Terrifying, but love them.
same. And also Ennard as well, and also like the sad puppet from Five Nights at Candy's as well because I was like, I want to
Oh,
do
heck
more.
yeah.
Yeah, and yeah,
Absolutely.
I love them. They're all behind me right now on like the top part of my wall. Uh, but
Yeah.
I also made a full plush suit of Springtrap. It was my first thing ever with foam, so it looks horrible. But he looks more like Chica's feet orange than green, but it's close enough, and it was the first time I worked with foam. So,
Yeah.
um, anyway, getting back to the topic of you, I can talk about Five Nights at Freddy's for hours.
I know. I felt that ever since I started hyperfixating on it. So I was like, I now know everything.
Welcome.
Um, Speaking of foam, though, I do have another costume that a fan is making for me, Jack Muth. I think there's a number under it, but he does a bunch of Godzilla outfits, and he makes them all out of foam, and he's making me one. So I'm super excited for that. I can't wait to see it. He's done
Ooh.
a few videos showcasing her, and I'm like, I can't wait because I really want to do Mothra one time too because I
Mhm.
love Mothra. So yay!
That is awesome, and I am excited to see it.
I know.
Um, so some people may know you, or if they don't, they can go check it out. Uh, from the Tickety Talkities. Since it is a newer platform, I wanted to ask, why did you start using that in the first place?
So I actually found TikTok originally when it was still Musically, and I was, and I just kept getting ads for it on Instagram. Like everywhere I went on Instagram, it was like Musically, you want to join, you want to join, and I was like, what is this app? And it just and like it started getting annoying as I was like, I don't want anything to do with this app because it kept giving me ads. And I was like, leave me alone. And it wasn't until I saw a Hatsune Miku cosplayer on one of the ads that I was like, wait, because that was something that I wanted to do because I'm a huge Vocaloid fan. And so I'd seen these like on YouTube, these fan music videos that cosplayers were making, and I had wanted to start doing that. And so I was like, TikTok just gave me this opportunity to do that in a very easy way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's kind of why I started it is I decided to join. I kind of saw what it was and I was like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this.
Yeah, I I joined from seeing Fnaf TikTok compilations,
Yeah, see?
or well, musically at the time, but still. Um,
Yeah, Vocaloids dragged me in.
yeah. Um, so you say that on the different social medias, you go by. I'm sorry if I say this horribly. Um, ah, hit. Don't hit the buttons. Um, Dark Mina the Gone on the social media platforms. Why did you choose that as your social media handles?
So originally I really liked the name Minna. I ended up finding it through Sonic, go figure. And it was like the old Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a koala. There's a koala named Minna in Sonic that's like really good friends with Sally, so that's how old it is. And I kind of just found it and I was like, I really like that name. And I was like, I want to name my kid that one day. And then, go figure that as an adult, I'm like, kids? No. But yeah, so I love that name. And then I actually joined Gaia Online, if you remember what that is. And I was young and 13 and edgy. And so I wanted a little edgy emo, you know, name. And so I chose Dark Minna. And then it was like, that's already taken. And I was like, oh, well, that's rude. Okay. But it was that had like the suggested and so it was just like, well, that's already taken, but here's some like a list of suggestions to add to your name that you can use. And so I'm like looking through them, and like a bunch of them were like Dark Minna 001, and I was like, ah, yes, because I totally want that. And then I kept looking, and it was like Dark Minna Flower Power, and I was like, I think you're missing the point of this name right now. I just kept looking, and then finally I saw Dark Minute the God, and I was like, yes, edgy, seems like speaks to my
Yes.
goth heart. That right there, and I just kept it. It's it's every time, and it was the biggest thing about it is no matter what thing I've joined, it's available. I've never had that problem,
Again.
and I'm yeah, yeah, and it's nice and long, so
Yeah. Exactly. Um. So, excuse you. Um. People on the outside of my door yelling. They're talking across the house. Up. So now I have to say the stereotypical YouTube thing of don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell icon. If you have any questions for our lovely guest here, put them in the comment section below. And if they're appropriate, um, and we ever get them back onto the show, we'll ask them your questions. And don't forget to follow them on all the social media platforms. There'll be a way to get to a good chunk of them in the description below. Amen. I don't know.
all right.
Oh man. But now, the next question. Whew, is going to be what is one of the hardest things about getting into one of your cosplays?
For me, because makeup is somewhat of it, but like I'm so used to doing makeup now that I'm kind of like that's just part of it.
Mhm.
For me, it's actually putting in contacts. My eyes are very sensitive, and that's why I don't have mine in right now. Is because I plan on filming after this, and so I was like, hey, like I'm not going to be able to have my contacts in for this interview and then film, because like for the most part, I can only have my contacts in for maybe 2 to 3 hours, depending on the day. And yeah, my eyes are just super sensitive. So contacts are just like not a fan of me. And I just hate it. I've had so many times that I've done a character and my eyes wouldn't stop watering. And I was like, all right, I have 3 videos, which sucks because that's nowhere near as many as I need.
Mhm.
Uh, and that's it. That's all I got. And I'm gonna have to deal with it because my contacts aren't about it.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
I can completely understand that type of like discomfort in it because excuse me, I'm so sorry. Fake armor plus a sweatshirt plus California is not
Oh,
fun. Is not fun. I'm in the cold part of California too, and it's not fun. So, uh,
that's one thing about living in Utah is I seem to have a habit of choosing characters that have very light clothing, and I'm like, why do I do this to myself?
same.
Every year I do this.
I'm the opposite. Like, same situation, just switched. Like, I always pick like the
Exactly.
thickest, heaviest thing, and it's like, you live in California. You need to stop this.
I know. I know. I am excited this year. I finally have a good winter cosplay this year that if Winterfest is going, I can go to and bring him, and I'm really excited about it.
Ooh, awesome.
Yes.
And speaking of conventions, we have a few convention-based questions. Um,
Uh,
how many conventions have you gone to before, or if it's easier, how many different ones?
okay. Oh boy. Uh, I've gone to a lot locally, because for the longest time, before I started TikTok, I was constantly like, I want to take like, I want to wear my cosplays more. Now
Mm-hmm.
with TikTok, it's not as much of a problem because I'm like, I get into cosplay constantly now.
Mm-hmm.
But before I was like, I barely use my cosplays, and it's one of my favorite things to do. So I would find all these ones. So I've gone to Wizarding Con here, Gaming Con, FanX, Winterfest. I did go to the Renaissance Fair here, FearCon, and I'm really hoping they come back. And I just went to YumaCon. It's my first out of state con, so I just went to that. I'm like trying to think because I feel like I'm missing one. Uh, because yeah, I've gone to a ton of like little ones just to kind of see what they're like, and I really anime bonsai. That's what I'm forgetting.
Oh,
I'm like,
hmm.
of course, the anime cons. But yeah, I really enjoy going to the smaller ones, especially because like Fanix is fun and all, but don't have a lot of the things that I would like to do as much.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I've been to Fanix a ton because that's just like the main con here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was Salt Lake Comic Con until they lost the rights to use Comic Con as their name, and now it's Fanix. Yeah, fun fact about Salt Lake's Comic Con. Um, and so yeah, I've been to that one so many times. I've been to Anime Bonsai twice. I think I've been to Wizarding Con 3 times, and then Fear Con twice, and Gaming Con twice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just a few, just one or two.
just you know, just to
Um,
name them off.
it's fine. But why did that move so far? Okay. Oh, that's why. Okay. I got confused by my own list that I wrote myself. Anywho,
I do that
uh,
all the time.
um, is there any upcoming cons you're hoping to attend to in the future? I know you already talked about one, but is there any others that you're hoping to attend to in the safe future?
Yes. Um, so I was hoping to go to Emerald City Comic Con, but it doesn't seem like I'm going to be able to afford that one,
Mm-hmm.
sadly. But I am planning on going to Phoenix Comic Con. Unfortunately, they did just reschedule, so I'm gonna have to work around that. It was going to be in January and they just rescheduled it for May. So I'm like, well, it's a good thing because I can save more money for it, but it's a bad thing is because now I'm like, am I going to be able to have the time off for it?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so I'm hoping that I can still make that one. And then CJ Cosplay, you know, my cosplay wife, again,
Mm-hmm.
of course. She just asked a bunch of us if we want to go to OhioCon, and that's in February. And there's also KatsuCon in February that I kind of want to see if I can go to one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Probably OhioCon just because CJ's going to that one already.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the ones.
Awesome.
Hmm.
Yeah, we've heard a few good rumors about Katsucon around here, so there's a few people who've been on the show who's talked about going to that one. So that's all I know about
Exactly. Well, like
cons.
Well, so KatsuCon is a big one for TikTokers to go to, and so that's kind of why I want to go to it, is because I'm like, there's a lot of TikTokers I want to meet,
Yeah.
and that would be nice.
Oh yeah, I get that 100%. Uh, hey, my friend lives in New York, like over there, or not in New Jersey. Maybe I can like pay him and like send him down there to do interviews.
Right? Oh,
I might.
oh, that would be so
I have an
fun.
actual job now. I could probably pay him to do it. That just not getting
There
my
you
brain.
go.
Anywho, so to continue and not just my tired brain thinking more ideas. Because fun fact, that's how this show started. Was I was tired and I was like, I want to make a YouTube channel. Uh, um,
The best
and
ideas are
wanted to
that way,
help
aren't
people
they?
as well. But the next question is going to be, what is your favorite con memory that you can remember?
Oh boy.
Or if you have more than one, we can
Um,
save you for a little bit if you want to talk about a few.
fair enough. Um, oh geez. I'm like now trying to think of them. Uh, I meeting Christina Ritchie was a huge one for me because I met her in my Katrina Van Tassel cosplay, and Sleepy Hollow has been my favorite movie since I was like 5.
Mm,
And to meet Christina Ritchie, which she was, you know, one of my like gay awakening celebrity crushes, so like big deal. And to have, you know, and she's Wednesday and Christina Van Tassel, and she's also in Casper. And when I was a kid, I was also a huge fan of Now and Then, which she's one of the main girls in. And so I've just always been in love with her. And so meeting her as Katrina Van Tassel was so surreal. I was so like, and she's so small. She's so cute. Oh my God. Um, and meeting Misha Collins was another one that he because I'm so used to, you know, when you go get signatures and stuff that they sign and then they're like, okay, bye bye. And you're like,
mm.
all right, cool. And you like run off.
Thank you for looking at
Um,
me.
yeah, right. And you know, if we can, because before, because I met Misha Collins this year at Fanex, so we weren't allowed to get selfies with a lot of the celebrities and all that, so I
Hmm.
wasn't able to do that. Because that's what I normally do, is because I don't like photo ops. I think they look really impersonal and they're just awkward.
Yeah.
Um, and so I prefer getting like a signature from them and getting a selfie with them at their booth. And so that was my plan. And then, of course, with, this year, we're not allowed to do that because of COVID. Cool. And so yeah, so I met him, and I that's what I expected, is that he would sign my poster and give it to me and then be like, "Okay, bye." And then he noticed my tattoos
Hmm.
and he started asking me about them. And I was like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, that's like," I kind of like deer in the headlights for a moment, because I was like, "Yes, yes, that's a bat. That is correct. Yes." And he was like, "Oh, my daughter loves bats." And he like starts talking to me, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, that's oh my God." I'm like just sitting there like awestruck, because I just wasn't expecting him to speak to me. And I was like, ah.
I was like, oh, I, I, I can completely understand that. The one of the two cons we went to go see like Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead, and like my mom had
Oh,
that same reaction, and like he's super nice, and he talks
right.
to you as well. That's why you have to get the VIP pass, or else the line goes out the door.
Yeah,
uh,
right.
so it's like, and and like he actually talked for a minute, and like it's great when they do that. And also James Marsters from Buffy and his Spike,
Oh,
he was awesome. He also
die to
Leslie
me.
Gift, he is awesome. Like I have the picture of us right there. That's why I'm pointing like right here.
Yeah.
Like he was awesome. Like and he actually talked to me, and it was so sad that he didn't have a line. Like he actually had the time to talk to me too, and I was like, I'm so sorry that there's not a line here. You
Oh
should
my God,
have a
that's so
line.
sad, because like I
You
love him
should have a
so
line.
much.
He is awesome, I have to say. Uh
He's so cute. I love him. Love him so much. I would die to meet him, because I've only met two people from Buffy the Vampire Slayer yet, and I'm like, I want more.
more.
It's because I've only met Xavier and Anya, and I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, and I met them together. Is that they were doing photo
oh
ops together, and I was like, oh my
yes,
God, I have, because they're like my favorite couple from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So I was like,
yes.
well, I have to spend every
I
bit of money I have for this.
here. Take my
Yeah, I was
life
like,
savings, please.
yes, take my money. It's fine.
Yes.
Don't care.
That that's awesome. I know like so far from Buffy, all I've met was Spike, and like uh I want to meet more as well. It's like be available for me to meet you, please. Um
Like,
um man, I could talk about that all like the menagerie of things, but oh my god, I had a transitional question and I forgot it. I'm a horrible person today. Okay, but there was one I have to like now. Okay. So you talked about some people you'd like to meet from TikTok and all that fun stuff. Is there anybody who you want to do a collaboration with, either from TikTok, Instagram, blah blah blah, doing photo shoots, videos, so on, whatever you wish.
I've actually thought about this question a lot, because I watched some of your guys' interviews, and I was
Mhm.
like, oh gosh, like I was like, who would I? Because I have all my TikTok friends, and of course I would want to like meet them, but that's already like in the plan and in the works, and so, um,
Fine.
uh, but a big one would be Sid the Disney nerd. Is like
Ah.
Sid the Disney nerd. She's adorable. She's so cute. I would love to work with her one day, and of course, like do like some Disney stuff together, because I think it would just be really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, another one is because recently Jay Strider and Hollow Fox did a collab together, and he's just doing all those like really cool music video like videos and stuff, and I would love to do something like that, whether with him or with someone else. Like I just think that would be so cool, so fun. uh that he's just so talented. There's another one that I'm forgetting her name. I believe it's Mallory Schneider. I think that's how it's Cider, I don't know. I think that's how it's pronounced. But she does like super cool videos and she collabs with people all the time and they just look sick. And I'm like, I would love to work with her just because I would love to like see behind the scenes of all that, you know? Because
Mm-hmm.
it just looks really cool. I love the aesthetic and the amount of cinematography that goes behind it. And I'm like, please and thank you. Teach me your ways.
Please,
Like, that's all I need.
please.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, and Sid the Disney is an awesome person. If you want to go check that episode out, I'll be here-ish maybe. I don't know. Um, sorry, I had to do that. Shameless promotion.
Of course.
Um, hello, Cat. Um,
She's so cute.
she is awesome. We actually got to talk to her a few times. Shameless
Oh,
plug for the other
good.
one. But uh, yeah, she is very awesome. Um, now, if my phone will stand up correctly. The next question is coming from my past guest, a Mr. Zoom underscore 2028. Um, it's very long, very complicated. Um, bacon question mark.
I can't eat it.
Blasphemy. No,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
kidding.
so I can't eat red meat. So I
Hmm.
can't eat beef, pork, lamb. It's kind of sad because I used to. That started in 2017. I haven't been able to eat red meat since 2017. And unfortunately, like bacon's not what I miss the most. Like now that I haven't had bacon for so long, I'm kind of like meh. But I definitely miss sausage and I miss steak. I miss steak so much.
Yeah, I completely
Um,
understand that.
yeah. Every once in a while I can still have some because I can only eat farm to table.
Mm-hmm.
So if I know, because my dad's a butcher, fun fact.
Oh,
And so if my dad sends meat to me, I'm like, cool, I can eat all of this. And whenever I go see my dad, I can eat all the meat that he serves because I know where it comes from and it comes normally from his cows. So I'm like, sweet, thanks.
awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I can find a special list. If I can remember what it's called, and if my internet will stick with me for a second, we can all pray to whatever deity or scientific belief we believe in, and I can find it.
What a mood.
Uh,
Um,
where is it? There's a special list I have in here for past guest questions, and there was one. Well, okay, so while I'm looking for that, because I am still paying attention, like I'm even my tired
yes, of
brain can
course.
multitask. Um, would you keep a pet zombie or would you kill it?
I'd keep it. He's gonna kill me one day, but I'm keeping him. He's mine. Um, but like I just I could just keep him in a corner, you know, and he would like gnaw at me and it'd be fine. You know, he's gonna break out one day, whatever. Maybe I'll break off his jaw and we'll be fine. We'll walk the dead and it'll be fine.
It'd be
It'll
fine.
be fine.
It'd be fine.
Still gonna probably kill me one day, but it'll be
It'd
fine.
be fine. It'd be fine. Um,
I keep
so
him.
that is a rare answer to that, and I love it. Uh, so the next question is coming from a Corey Nation or nations. It's either a singular or a plural. Uh, who is your favorite Disney princess?
Mulan. Mulan or Kita, because I love Kita so much, but I love Mulan so much, so those are my two.
Awesome. Well, next up, I almost said the exact same question again. That's how my brain is working today. Next up is who is your biggest cosplay inspiration or inspirations?
Oh boy, uh, I I think it changes, to be honest. I don't have like a singular person that like I've been like, oh yes, because for a little while it was Yaya Han, because I met her when I was still a little baby cosplayer, and so like she was a big one because I had never met like a famous cosplayer before. Like I had never thought of that as like being an option,
Mm-hmm.
and so she was. she was a huge one for a little while. Um, and I've kind of just jumped around, 'cause like Sid was actually one of my inspirations, just because like how she gets into character and how much she loves them. Primal Darkness was one for a little while, and now we're mutual, so I'm like, feels weird. uh, but yeah, I've kind of just jumped around and seen different people and what they do, and that's, and found different inspiration through them. And probably like characters in general. Like a lot of different characters are a lot of my inspiration for wanting to cosplay, because I'm like, I relate to these characters, or I want to look like these characters, so they're my inspiration for cosplaying because I want to look like them.
Uh,
Like All Might was a big one for that.
um,
Oh, All Might.
I can understand. I can understand that type of thing 100%. Um, Next up is going to be coming from another past guest, a Harley F. Quinn. What are those?
What are those? Your toes are in my lap. That's all I think is I hear that quote from Black Panther every time I hear that. What are those? And like it's been in my head ever since, because I did one of those which voice matches me the best,
Yeah.
and that's who I got. Is literally so many of my comments, and especially my friends, like those who've like talked to me and have gotten to know me, so many of them were like, you sound exactly like her. And I was like, that's really funny. I love that. And so that's all I hear every time I hear that. It's just, what the your toes doing in my lab? I love Shuri so much. She's so good.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Um.
Can't wait for the next Black Panther.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm excited. I'm excited for the new Spider-Man movie, but I am a Spider-Man nerd, so.
I haven't seen any of the Spider-Man movies, but I will eventually. One day we'll see.
One of these days. Um,
Yeah, I'm like, get on it.
it's on the list. Just
Yeah,
not
I'm
sure
like,
where. Um,
it's there, I promise.
well, what is your favorite character? No, who is your favorite character to cosplay as?
Oh boy. Selena Kyle is definitely a big one. Is Catwoman. And part of that is like how long it's taken me to get that cat suit, because I've been trying to get that cat suit for like 6 years.
Mm.
Is because I was trying to commission it through one person, and it like took them 2 years, and then like I didn't hear from them for 2 years, and then finally I found someone else, and she had it done in within a year. And yeah, like it just took me a long time to finally get that cat suit on, like, in my hands. I'm also like a huge Selena Kyle Kinney, so I relate to her so much, and so much about Selena Kyle. I'm like, this woman. And so, like, it's kind of weird to me because she's a very sexual character, as we know, because it's Selena Kyle, it's Catwoman, and I am not like that. I am. You can't tell by the outfit I'm wearing because my demon's also like that. Go fucking figure. But um, but I am a very like conservative person. I'm very like, eh, and like I'm ace, so like that's a big thing. Is I'm like sexual things, no. Like I'm just like, yes, the sex, we're not a fan. And the funniest thing about watching Lita's interview when she started talking about like the different scents, and how like, because I know that she was talking about how pumpkin and bacon are big scents to like our turn-ons, and then cherry's a turn off. I was like, oh my god, I'm ace. I hate the smell of pumpkin, and I'm not a big fan of the smell of bacon. I've never really been, and then I love the smell of cherry, and I was like, it was fate. And I'm like, God, I'm asexual. It's such a problem. But yeah, so like that's like one of the funniest things about Selena Kyle being one of my favorite characters to cosplay. Because I'm like, you make no sense. This is like the one biggest thing about Selena that like makes no sense for me with
Mhm.
being a Selena Kyle Kinney, is I'm like, this is like the disconnect. It's a huge disconnect and I love her. I don't know what happened. All right. Yeah. Poison Ivy was also really fun, which was like another one that's kind of funny about that is Poison Ivy was so fun to cosplay. And then recently, I'm sure you've seen because it's all my content's been for like a month now, is All Might.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think I would like All Might as much as I did. Is because one of my friends asked me to do him, and I was like, yeah, sure. And I love him. I love him so much. I love being in All Might's suit. I love everything about it and doing all the videos with like smiling and grinning and being like, yeah, he's such a himbo. And I'm like, I love this man. I love everything about it and I love doing it. I'm like, what? Like, Bakugo is my favorite character from that show. And then All Might is one of like the cosplay that I'm like, ah, yes. Like, that makes no sense. All right.
It's fine. I mean,
Like, whatever. I'm as confused as my state is.
um, but uh, the next question is going to be the content that you create. Is it the ones that you enjoyed making the most that get the most attention, or is it the ones that surprise you?
Surprises me every time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's it's so aggravating to some extent is that so much of the content that I put so much work into totally flops on TikTok. This is
Mm-hmm.
another thing that I've noticed is like on TikTok it totally flops. Where if I post it on Instagram, it'll do really good. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, that's weird. So sometimes when I do a really good video and it flops on TikTok, I'll post it on Instagram and then it'll do really well on Instagram. So I'm like, okay, we're fine. Um, but that's only really annoying just because I don't have the same like following
Yeah.
as on my Instagram as my TikTok, and I'm like, why are you guys like this?
Yeah.
What's happening?
It.
Uh, well, me just being a meme is what gets so big, and I'm like, guys, I'm not funny.
I'm sorry,
Don't let
I'm
the
not, but
videos that do well. Yes, I'm like, I'm
yeah.
not funny. Do not let these videos be what you're gonna be disappointed later on. I'm like, don't follow me with this video. You're gonna be disappointed. This is not the norm.
This is not what I usually do. I am sorry. I'm sorry I've tricked you
I'm
today.
like,
Um,
I'm like, stop.
please.
Like, don't
Um,
do this to me.
yeah. But now, the last question on my list, and then shockingly, I have more. Um, what do you think is your biggest what do you think is the biggest misconception about you and or your cosplays?
Uh, one that I'm funny. That's a huge one. It's just because of the audios I use. Because I'm like, I'm not funny, but I know what is funny. And so
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I use audios that I know is funny, and so a lot of people are like, "You're so funny," and I'm like, "I'm not actually." Um,
Thank you for the lie.
and then
Um,
exactly, I'm like, haha. Um, Another big one that I get is that my characters are me. Uh, is I'm very much the person that like my characters are, because like all my characters have some sort of part of me, but
mhm.
my characters are also very different. And they all run into different lines because like this character is a cannibal. I'm like, guys, she eats hearts for fun. But like I don't do that. Sorry to disappoint you.
Sorry,
Um,
cannibals who are following me. I do not do that. I do not partake in the human
I'm like
flesh consumption.
that's not my thing.
If
Um,
this, if we were monetized, this video would not be.
right? But yeah, so like I just get a lot of people who because like recently I came out on my TikTok as bi romantic because I'm bi and I'm ace. And so I've had like people because like I have characters that aren't like that. My characters have their own sexualities and all that fun stuff. They
Mhm.
have their own backstories. And I've had people go, wait, but I thought you didn't like this thing. And I'm like, yeah, I don't. That doesn't mean my
They
character
do.
can. Yeah, I'm like, and so I get those a lot, and I'm just like, Yeah, my character is not me. They are their own individual in some sort, especially ones that I get stuck in. That's a bad time.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that
Mm.
100%. Um,
Oh yeah.
but now I'm just gonna turn the phone off because it's about to die anyway. Uh, but now on to the final four questions. First is, do you have any questions for me as an individual or about the show in general?
Um, you do a couple of different FNAF characters, so who's your favorite FNAF character?
Springtrap.
And FNAF game. Springtrap? I had a feeling.
Shocking, I know. Big reveal. Um, um, I, I, I'm trying not to say Five Nights at Freddy's 3. I'm trying to be like that's like exclude that one because like that's like the easy answer, you know. The one
Mhm.
with the character I like, you know, like that's the easy answer. So I'll probably say FNAF 4. I know it's the one right after it, but like I love the creepy, you know, extra sharpness. So,
I love their nightmare versions because I'm like that because, I mentioned how Mangle's my favorite character, but I
mm,
really don't like the second game. But I
mm,
love the fourth one. I love the fourth one so much. I like the dynamic of it. And then I just like their nightmare versions. Like Nightmare
mm-hmm,
Chica totally am like, yeah, you could give me nightmares. I'm not a fan of you. Even though when they did bring in Nightmare Mangle,
mm-hmm,
I was so excited. I was like, yes, yay, because Mangle's terrifying. And so to have a
mm-hmm.
Nightmare Mangle version, I was like, that's not kosher. That's not okay. I love it. Thank you.
I love you, but over there, please.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, stay that way. I love you to death, but you can't be near me.
I will boop you with a 10.5 foot pole. Just stay over
Yeah.
there, Mr. Grinch. Um,
Oh my God. Mangle is like the little plushie. I'm like, I squeal every time. Like every time I watch playthroughs for it and I see the little plushie Mangle,
the plushies are adorable, you know.
they're so cute. I want one.
As I look into into the abyss, there's like a hammock full of plushies because I'm that type of person.
I felt I know all my plushies are downstairs. They're just hanging out. I need a place for them. It's a good time. I'm
Yep,
rearranging my rooms right now, and it's
fun. One
so
layer
good.
is
It's
fun,
so good.
one layer is hell. Like
Yeah,
life.
yeah, I feel good. We love it here.
Yeah. Is there any other questions or you would like to ask?
No, that was mine.
Awesome. Well, now we're gonna go on to the final three. I promise I won't say that every single time because that'll get very
You're
annoying.
good.
Um, would you ever like to come back to the show in the future, either to do another interview like this or do a special project like we have on the show sometimes?
Yeah, sure. Of course.
Awesome, because you're scheduled for 18 more things, so I hope you're ready.
Oh, good.
Uh,
Great.
great.
Glad we already
Uh,
got that established.
yep, and they all have to be in different outfits, and you have 5 minutes. Go.
We're good. I can do this. I got 3 months of characters. I can use them in this moment.
Yes. Uh, but the next question is going to be, who do you like to see on the show in the future?
Um, Mad Mischief would be fun. Mizzy's adorable, and I think she would really enjoy this. If you can get Robin the Slytherin, season thing, or I guess it's Robin the Goddess now. Yeah.
Even higher above. Um,
Oh yeah. Well, because she's changed it a few times, and yeah, I think it's Robin the Goddess now, and I'm like, that's fitting because she could step on me, and I would absolutely thank her. Cool. um. Uh. If you can get my cosplay wife, CJ Cosplay, go for it, please and thank you. I
awesome.
feel like she might. Oh my God. I'm just imagining CJ's reaction to seeing this, and I'm like, it's fine.
It's fine. Just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I'm and
Uh,
like, because we've said it jokingly, and now I'm like, we've said it jokingly a few times that she's my cosplay wife because we keep running into that is that she'll do like a character and she'll be like, yeah, and you do you want to do their significant other? And I'm like,
yes.
fine, And then there's
Yes.
been others that I'm like, I'm absolutely doing this. Like we were gonna do Aizawa and Miss Joke, and then Bakugo and Yutaraka, because we're both Bakugo Yutaraka shippers. And uh, I do All Might, and she does Deku's mom. So that's another ship that we do. Um, and then she did Miss Krampus, and so I was like, now I want to do Krampus, and she was like, do it, I dare you. And I was
You
like,
won't?
yes, I'm doing Krampus. It's like fine.
Surprise.
So yeah, now Krampus is in my arsenal. I love him. Uh, there's so many. Oh, she also did a Christmas Harley Quinn and kind of did the whole like, you want to be my Joker? I know you have Joker. And I was like, okay,
Fine.
fine.
You twisted my arm. I'll do
I'm
it.
like,
It's
okay.
fine.
Yeah, and then Hades and Persephone and Zeus and Hera, and I'm like, we're just gonna continue to do this? And yeah, so she made the joke first, and she was like, it's like I'm your cosplay wife or something. And I was like, you are my cosplay wife.
I hope you know this. This is now canon
Yeah, this has been
within
established.
this is now canon within the Demon
Yeah,
Interviews multiverse. It's now canon. Um
exactly. I'm like, CJ Cosplay and I are now cosplay husband and wife.
yeah.
Thank you.
Please and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now the last question is going to be I almost said the same one again because it's that type of day. Um do you have any questions for a future guest? There we go.
Oh, um, oh boy. What's their favorite horror movie?
Yes.
I always love finding out people's favorite horror movies because I'm like, it tells you a lot about someone.
It does.
Oh,
100%.
oh yeah. Because I'm like, you learn whether they like are a horror movie person. I feel like that's a big one.
Mhm.
How long they've been into horror movie because I feel like that's a big one is because you'll ask someone, they're like, oh yes, this brand new horror movie that just came out, and I'm like, I see. Hmm.
Halloween Kills, you know,
Yeah, right.
that
And
type
I'm
of
like,
thing.
yeah, and I'm
I
like,
I
I see you. I see you.
I see all. I now understand your whole philosophy with this.
Exactly. Whenever I find out someone's favorite horror movie is Scream, I'm like, okay, so you still like comedy and you're not a big horror movie person, maybe,
Hmm.
maybe. But you definitely like comedy and like you don't like big scares. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that's why you're a Scream person. I love when they say scary movie though. Like whenever I ask someone what their favorite horror movie is and they're like scary movie, I'm like, ah, I see. So you don't like horror movies and you really like comedy. Um, and you kind of like bad comedy. Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think mine would be like Freddy versus Jason or Cabin in the Woods. What was that
So you like
tell you?
comedy, but you still like horror movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're a big comedy person. You still like horror movies, but I feel like you're not like super into horror movies.
Nope. I actively
I don't know though,
watch.
because you're also the FNAF.
Yeah. See, like I like both sides of it because like I love like the Haunting of Hill House and all and like the Paranormal Activity
That was a
movies.
good one.
Those
Yeah.
are really good.
Oh yeah,
So
and
both sides.
oh my no, and Freddy versus Jason, they do a really good job at it. They
Yeah.
do such a good job at it because that movie is hilarious while staying a horror movie. Where Cabin in the Woods is so funny. I love Cabin in the Woods. I definitely don't really consider it a horror movie because I'm like,
True.
it is definitely a horror movie making fun of horror movies. And that's what I consider it. Is I'm like, it's not a horror movie. It's a horror movie making fun of horror movies. Where
Touche.
Scream is still a horror movie.
Touche.
It's just
Touche.
also making fun of horror movies.
Touche.
Um, I love them though. They're so good. And I'm just involved everywhere. I watch so much horror stuff. It's a problem.
Yes. What is your favorite? Yes.
Exactly. I'm like, indeed.
That
All
is
of
a
the
question.
above.
All of the
Yeah, I'm
above.
like,
Yeah.
and I
The
love when I get that answer when I ever ask someone what their favorite horror movie and they're like, yes. And I'm like, you're my kind of person.
yeah, like yeah, like my favorites go like from extreme to Freddy versus Jason.
Yep.
You know, it go because like I also turned a character who's like basically and almost literally a white knight from Jean from Ruby. I turned him into a evil demon thing. So
Yes. Yes.
so
It's so good.
and I
I know
also
I plan on doing the Monster High characters, and I
mm,
want to do them like actually spooky because I'm like they're like factually and spooky now, but I'm like I want to do them like actual
yeah.
spooky.
Yes, I know I'm excited for that
Me
because
too.
I but yeah. With that, before we continue on with with long speeches about horror movies and other creepy things that go bump in the night, um,
My bad.
no, you're fine. It makes the episode longer. It's fine by me. But thank you all for watching. Thank you so much for being on the show. I highly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Um, and don't forget to follow them on all the social media platforms. There'll be a way to get to them in the description below. And at least I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.